Namaste everyone, and now welcome to this short topic, that is the nature of mind. Before we delve into mind, continuing from the previous topic, we have to see our existence at the different levels. So there are the five koshas that philosophy and even Ayurveda explains, that the layers to the self is in the five koshas. So here you can see the five different koshas are being explained here. So the first one is called as Annamaya Kosh. Annamaya Kosh means that which is our physical body is made up of. That is Annamaya Kosh. The next is called as Pranamaya Kosh. This is the energy body that is made up of, that is Pranamaya Kosh. The next is Manomaya Kosh. Manomaya Kosh stands for the emotional body of ourselves. Then there is Vijnanamaya Kosh. Vijnanamaya Kosh is the wisdom body of the self. And then there is Anandamaya Kosh. Anandamaya Kosh is for the bliss body. Bliss body is the soul proper. So every personality is a layer of these five koshas: Annamaya Kosh, Pranamaya Kosh, Manomaya Kosh, Vijnanamaya Kosh, and Anandamaya Kosh. When you eat a good food, have a proper rest, do exercise, you are making your physical body Annamaya Kosh very strong. Then we have to work on the Pranamaya Kosh. Prana refers to the life air, prana, and the doing of the pranayam, yogasana, and this will help you build your energy body, that is Pranamaya Kosh. Then there is the emotional body, that is Manomaya Kosh, and then there is Vijnanamaya and Anandamaya Kosh. So a proper nurturing of these five different types of bodies is required. So for the Annamaya Kosh, one has to have a proper bodily structure. So if you go across, it is called as the explore, express, involve, knowledge, and enlightenment. Okay. So we have to explore, that is the Annamaya Kosh, the physical body, which is the interactive system, the structure of the body. And then we come to the Pranamaya Kosh, which is the subtle body. First one is the physical body, the second one is the energy body, that is the subtle body. Where it gives us power to act. It is Kriya Shakti, right? This is the Pranamaya Kosh. Then there is Manomaya Kosh, that is the mental body, where we will or desire certain things. That is called as Ichha Shakti. Kriya Shakti is by the Pranamaya Kosh, where Ichha Shakti, the desire to do something, comes from the Manomaya Kosh, the mental body. Jnanamaya Kosh, or Vijnanamaya Kosh you call it, is the energy body, which is about the Jnana Shakti, knowledge coming from the experience. And then finally there is Anandamaya Kosh, that is the life's goal, the higher dimensional goal of one's life, which leads to enlightenment or the blissful experience, that is called as Vijnanamaya Kosh. So Hatha Yoga, the book Hatha Yoga has Hatha Pradipika, it mentions these very important five types of kosha. So the nurturing is required at all these five types. Many times we are simply happy caring for the physical body, but then there is a deranged mind, and then there is there is no desire. The Ichha Shakti, Kriya Shakti, Jnana Shakti is not in sync with just the bodily strength. So for a holistic perspective, the holistic nurturing of the self, personality development, one has to develop all these different types of kosha, right? That is Annamaya Kosh, Pranamaya Kosh, Manomaya Kosh, Vijnanamaya Kosh, and Anandamaya Kosh. So now here you can see how we can develop these koshas based on the Hatha Pradipika principles. One has to do asana to develop one's Annamaya Kosh, that is the body. So you must have seen people doing asana, Surya Namaskar. If you remember, we have taken the asanas also. So that will develop one's Annamaya Kosh. Pranamaya Kosh, when you do pranayam, okay, that will strengthen your life force, that is Pranamaya Kosh. Then one has to do pratyahara, that is avoiding the harmful agents into mind to strengthen the Manomaya Kosh. So ahara is not about what we eat. Ahara is also what we see through our eyes. What we see on our mobiles, what we see there, what kind of websites we visit, what kind of inputs that we are giving to our eyes, to our ears, to our mind. All this comes under the category of ahara, and the controlling that, avoiding the harmful agents into the mind, is called as pratyahara, and that's what will strengthens one's mental body, that is manomaya kosha. One has to do dhyana and dharana by holding the mantra meditation and concentrating. That will lead one to vijnanamaya kosha. And finally, the samadhi or anandamaya kosha is about meditation on the Supreme Lord, or in the philosophical sense, the meditation on the Supreme Lord, Lord Vishnu or Lord Krishna, Lord Rama, and that is attaining the Anandamaya Kosha. So this is how the Hatha Pradipika explains the development of different types of kosha. So one of the important thing that is about the kosha is about Manomaya Kosha. Manomaya Kosha is all about how to raise the mind above the petty harmful temptations. To purify one's mind, one has to broaden our consciousness, and that is possible by changing the heart. So changing the heart from greed to satisfaction, cruelty to compassion, arrogance to humility. And in this principle of satisfaction, compassion and humility, one can actually experience a change of heart and broaden one's consciousness, and this broadened consciousness will purify the mind, right? And this is how one can ultimately attain the ultimate goal of the human form of life. So when we are dwelling into the mind, let us come to what is the nature of the mind. Bhagavad Gita describes mind and the nature of the mind in a very descriptive, vivid fashion. Bandhuratmatmanastasya yenatmaivat banajatah anatmanastu shatrutve vartaitatmaiva shatruvat. Bhagavad Gita says, the mind, if controlled, can act as one's best friend. But the same mind, if uncontrolled, can become one's worst enemy. Right? So we need to sharpen the mind. Just like the Stephen Covey in his 7 Habits book, he writes about the sharpening the saw. Similarly, one has to sharpen the mind by taking shelter of something which sharpens the mind or delivers the mind. So let's dwell into what is mind and how it is controlled or uncontrolled. So mind, if it is controlled, it is our best friend. But the same mind, if it is uncontrolled, it is one's greatest enemy. Many times we will see the people committing suicide. It is not for bodily problem so much. People have, many a times, people have a very healthy body, but a diseased mind. And because of that, one has to, because if the mind is uncontrolled, the same mind is going to act our greatest enemy. So let's come to this topic of these are the byproducts of the uncontrolled mind: lack of confidence, depression, loss of trust, hypertension, damage to oneself, family or society, weakened determination, dangerous diseases, madness. So all these are products of uncontrolled mind, right? So it will lead to disturbed senses, fickle mind and deranged intelligence, right? And what is the these are disastrous impacts of the uncontrolled mind. You can see people engaged in so many different activities, and the purpose and the root cause of this literally all the times is uncontrolled mind, right? So uncontrolled mind will give rise to many vices, and these vices will give rise to disastrous situations, consequences. In the previous part, we have seen how there is a chariot of the body, and the senses are compared to the horses, the 5 senses. Then mind is compared to the lagam, or that is the reins. Intelligence is the driver, the charioteer. The soul is actually the passenger. And the soul is sitting on the chariot of the body and moving around and moving across the chariot of the body. So every species is actually struggling for survival, right? So everybody is struggling for survival, and the struggle for survival can be eased or can be worsened by attitudes of the mind, right? So the intelligent human being should avoid these traps, right? They should know what is the trap and what is necessary and not necessary for the survival, and lead a victorious life. Uncontrolled mind lead us to bad habits. So there are many types of bad habits, right? People, they are engaged in so many different things when we talk of the bad habits. So whenever a company is going to recruit a student, the company will ask for someone who is with the good habits or the bad habits. Naturally, along with, if the people of the same competence, person will go for person with the same competence with good habits. So here is the list of some of the bad habits. The uncontrolled mind can lead to excessive eating, then boozing, drinking. Okay, every 1 hour he goes for a 15-minute smoke break. That is 25% productivity loss. So why somebody will engage someone who needs such a frequent smoking breaks? Right? He's always unwell, always on steroids or on the injections. He has, the office place affairs, or he has a broken family because of his habits, a spoiled brat. So all these vices can lead one to being unemployable. Or when we work on these vices and convert them into good habits, it can make us even better human being as such. In Bhagavad Gita, Lord Krishna describes about likes and dislikes of the mind, and how mind should be and should not be taken seriously at different times, because engagement of the mind is what is going to form. It is going to form different types of habits. Now look at this word habit. Habit is very powerful thing. If you remove H, a bit remains. Remove A, bit remains. Remove B also, it remains, right? So habit is very difficult to remove. But formation of the right habits by, how you define a habit? You define a habit as a regular tendency or the settled way of doing the things, right? Practice that is very hard to give up is called as habit, or it's the mental constitution or attitude. And we take shelter of our habits, good habits or bad habits. So here there are some examples of a simple good habits like brushing the teeth, studying timely, praying to Lord. These are some of the examples of washing your hands in Corona times. These are good habits. Here you see the examples of the bad habits, right? Drinking into drugs, smoke, and so on and so forth. So this is how the habits is defined by the Oxford Dictionary. And to the degree we feed our mind, we are forming different habits. And to the degree we slowly try to control our mind, slow is a very important thing, slow and steady. Not that from tomorrow all habits are going to be overnight, they are going to be changed, but one has to be on the progressive path of changing the habit. So we can change our habits by changing our mental script, right? Because habits are addictive, and so many experience of so many students for last 25 years we have seen habits are extremely addictive. Have seen very good students completely lost in their second year, third year, and coming out as a spoiled brat at their fourth year. Have seen some bad, of course nobody is bad, but students with bad habits working on themselves and working in Fang or Mang type of a product companies, simply because they controlled their habits, they worked on their habits, right? So here we have seen, if you remove, what is habit? Habits are very addictive. If you work on it and remove H, a bit remains. Work on it, remove A, bit still remains. Work on it, remove B, it remains. So habits, what is important is to form the good habits and work on the bad habits. Habits comes from the inputs. Inputs comes from what we take in, and this is called as GIGO Principle. GIGO means good in, good out, right? Whatever you put in the dustbin, same thing will come out of the dustbin. Garbage in, garbage out. So whatever we feed into our mind, that is what we are going to come out of. If we feed in positivity to the mind, we will have the positive outcomes. If we feed in the negativity to the mind, we will have negative outcomes. Therefore, what the script we are writing, the mental script, what books we are reading, what movies we are watching, what music we are listening to, what kind of friends we are keeping in the hostel around. So the books, movies, music, friends, what kind of web series you are watching, everything is going to form a habit. Everything is going to shape our mind, and that's how we are going to form our mental conceptions, and this is how we are going to lead a right kind or otherwise type of life. Right. These habits can be controlled by the superior intelligence, which is called as viveka. Viveka means, of course, the mind will give various options, but viveka means to distinguish the subduing the mind by superior intelligence, and also by engaging the mind properly. So here you can see the sapera is playing with this, is actually engaging the snake. If the snake is unengaged, it will remain very harmful to people. But he is engaging the snake very nicely, and the snake is making a dance there. So similarly, the habits should be engaged accordingly, right? So control the senses like the tortoise or the snake. Choose the books, movies and friends carefully to get right encouragement to our good habits. Put aside the likes and dislikes chosen by the impure mind, and remember the GIGO principle, garbage in, garbage out. And this is how one can actually purify one's mind, control one's mind, and engage it positively for self-development. Thank you, friends. We'll conclude here. Please like the video, subscribe the channel, and also put your valuable comments, your learnings in the comment section. We will meet with the next video. Thanks a lot.